I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
Film adaptations of Stephen King's works generally are not very good. Sure, there are a few diamonds, Shawshank Redemption, The Shining, Misery, and there are a few decent efforts. The Dark Half, the miniseries for The Stand, which is actually pretty good by mid-90s ABC miniseries standards. But most adaptations fall somewhere between It, which is almost completely unwatchable, save for Tim Curry's very bizarre performance as Pennywise, and Needful Things, which is genuinely unwatchable. It's akin to punching yourself in the throat after swallowing a fistful of nails. Which brings us to The Dark Tower, Stephen King's magnum opus, an epic of good versus evil as embodied by Roland Deschain, the gunslinger, the last gunslinger, and Walter Paddock, the Man in Black. The Man in Black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. How does it fare? Well, the story of The Dark Tower is unique in that it is 8 books and 4,000 some pages. Obviously, a 95-minute movie is not going to be able to adapt all of that material. The adaptation is interesting because it's technically a sequel to the series, a fact which will be lost on most of its viewership. How does it fare? Well, Nikolai Arcel has done an admirable job, but he seems to have forgotten the face of his father. Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey are phenomenal, as always. Elba owns the stoic Roland, and McConaughey gives Walter a quietly menacing swagger. Even Tom Taylor gives a good turn as Jake, which is important given that the film really is told from his point of view, which was probably a mistake. And the movie does feel like The Dark Tower. There's plenty of nods to the books in the series, to all of the main entries, and there are many more novels to Stephen King's greater universe, which happens in the books. And Roland is pretty badass as that gunslinger. He really is the badass gunslinger I've always envisioned. And when evil incarnate is coming to destroy existence as we know it in order to let all hell or whatever's outside the universe take over, this is the dude I want protecting me. This is the dude I want fighting on my side. So, and the sci-fi Western mashup really did work about as well as can be expected. Not great, but I could swallow it. And it is in keeping with the novels, which was important. And the script really isn't that bad. Not perfect, and there are a couple eye-rolling lines, but for the most part, it's not bad. It's serviceable. It's decent. So what's wrong with this? It's so goddamn fast. The film barrels along at a very fast clip. It never takes time to breathe, which is fine. The first book did the same thing. It moved at a very brisk pace itself. But at 95 minutes, the film never takes time to explain properly what the hell is going on. All we know is Walter wants to bring down the Dark Tower, and Roland needs to stop him. That's it. And Walter's motivation is limited to he's evil. That being said, I really did enjoy this film. It's not great. It's certainly no masterpiece. It's not as good as the classic Stephen King adaptations, but it was a decent effort. It could have been a hell of a lot worse. The problem is, I went into this film having read the series multiple times. I knew what the story was. I knew who these characters are. I knew how they connected. I knew what their motivations were. I'm having a lot of trouble imagining the average moviegoer who has not read the series at least once understanding what the hell is happening. The film just needed to be longer. It needed to take time to fill in the backstory. And I know, the TV series will take care of that. Yeah, okay, except the book never felt incomplete. The first book in the series never felt incomplete. A piece of a larger story, yes, but it never felt incomplete. The film feels rushed and incomplete. Do I recommend it? Yes. If you are a Stephen King fan, I definitely recommend it. If you're not a Stephen King fan, The Dark Tower is a rental.
Pomegranate.